This video showed up on my feed, and the deeper that I got into this video, the more concerned I became. And I want to be really careful with this one because this is not me trying to attack this creator specifically. I don't do that here on my channel, even though people that I react to probably would feel otherwise. That's fine. I am going to blur her identity because she's not considered a public figure. So it is what it is, right? However, I do think that this video is a really good example of how social media is starting to normalize gray market peptide culture in a way that honestly feels alarming, to say the least. And before anybody twists this, I'm not anti-science, I'm not anti-medicine, or even anti-peptide research. That's not what this video is going to be about. However, I do want to say there's a huge difference between FDA-approved peptide medications prescribed under medical supervision and random people online teaching each other how to source, how to mix, inject, stack, and experiment with gray market compounds. And that distinction really matters. And also, no, I do not think the FDA or pharmaceutical industry is perfect, because it absolutely is not. There are legitimate criticisms when it comes to healthcare access, pricing, bias, and even medications that were approved and later caused harm. But acknowledging flaws in the medical system does not automatically make underground self-experimentation safe either. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Erin Bies. I am a certified personal trainer and a fitness nutrition specialist. And today we're going to talk about peptides. Honestly, the deeper that I got into this video that was covering overseas suppliers, injection instructions, storage systems, crypto payments, testing compounds at home, and peptide mini fridges, the more I felt like we have crossed from wellness influencing into something else entirely. So let's talk about it.
So you just found out about peptides and you decided you are ready to embark on your peptide journey, but you don't know where to start. Let me go ahead and give you all the tools you need to get your ship sailing. Hi, my name is. If you don't know me, if you've never seen me before, I like to make content about peptides, about my journey. I have lost 43 pounds since I started. Here's how I used to look. This is how I look now. Big difference, and we're not done yet. I still have a ways to go, but I love to share what I've learned along my journey. And I kind of wish I knew some of these things. I wish somebody showed me or told me before I started, but this is a research space, so everything is based on the information that you look for and you inform yourself on. So let me go ahead and help you with that.
Okay, so right away, one of the things that concerns me the most here is how this is being framed. This is being presented almost like, welcome to your new fun wellness hobby of sorts. Not, these are complex compounds with varying levels of evidence, potential risk, and very different safety profiles. And I really need people to hear me when I say this. The word peptide is incredibly broad. Some peptides are FDA-approved medications prescribed under medical supervision, while what we are primarily talking about in this video is gray market peptide culture that we see online through social media. Those are absolutely not the same thing, and social media has gotten really bad at separating those categories clearly.
Let's start, okay? You are going to need needles, and if you're just starting out, don't overthink it. Don't like, oh, let me get a pen, let me get the lure locks. Just get your basic diabetic insulin syringes. These are 31 gauge. This is how they look. Very simple, 100 units. You can get the 50 units, you can get the 100 units. I just like to get the 100 units because I can do like a full milliliter if I want to. By the way, 100 units is 1 milliliter. Now, these I don't recommend for mixing, for reconstituting, because it's just not, the needle is not long enough to reach that far into the vial. And also, these can, like I said, this can only hold 1 milliliter, and sometimes you need to reconstitute with more than that. So what I recommend, get yourself a bigger one. This is a 3 milliliter syringe. It is a lot bigger. The needle head is a lot bigger. This one is a 27 gauge. The gauge is not as important for mixing, but this is a 3 milliliter. As you can see, it's gonna hold a lot more volume. Like, I don't know if you can tell, the body is a lot thicker. So I use this for mixing and this for injecting. The next thing you should get, or at least I recommend it, is something to open up your vials, because after a while it gets kind of hard to snap the tops off of those things, and trust me, you're gonna wish you had something like this. It makes it so much easier, more convenient to just pop the top off. Think of it like opening a bottle of beer. You're literally just gonna boop.
Are your alarm bells going off like mine are? And they were when I was first watching this? Because now we've gone from general wellness discussions into needle recommendations, injection setups, reconstitution instructions, and administration guidance. And again, my concern is not injectable medications exist. Obviously they do, and those are life-saving medications for so many people. Also, I would like to point out that these syringes are for insulin. So maybe let's leave the diabetic supplies for those that need it. Just my opinion. Okay. My concern in all of this is social media becoming the primary educational source for gray market injectable compounds. And that should concern everybody, in my opinion. And one thing that I notice happening psychologically in these spaces is that the more organized something feels, the safer I feel like people are going to believe that it is. You've got syringes, procedures, containers, terminology, routines, and your brain starts associating it with legitimate medical structure. But aesthetic organization is not the same thing as medical oversight. That distinction is incredibly important here.
Okay, next, get you a Sharps container. Whether you want to use your old protein container, you want to use your laundry tub container, whatever you want to do, that's your prerogative. I kind of like getting an actual Sharps container. I got this for free from novocare.com. You can go on their website. Actually, just type into Google, because people have been having a hard finding the link. Type into Google Novo free container, and they'll pull up the website where you can put your information, or you can buy one. You can go on Amazon and buy them. It's up to you. Like I said, a lot of people don't think it's necessary to spend money on these things. You can just use an old laundry tub or like a protein container, whatever is like sturdy to hold your Sharps, because this is a biohazard. Once you have a used needle, it's a biohazard. And I mean, it depends on your local laws. I can't just throw mine in the trash. It's against the law. So do whatever is allowed in your county, in your local vicinity. But I just recommend getting a Sharps container, especially if you have in your home. You don't want your Sharps to just be somewhere where they can, put their hands in and then they're getting poked with your stuff. All right, the next thing you need, really, really important, you need alcohol wipes. You need alcohol wipes because you need to sanitize the tops of your stuff. I can't express how important it is to sterilize the tops of your vials before you draw up. And you should also be using a separate new clean one to sanitize the area that you're about to inject in, because I mean, it's self-explanatory. I don't gotta explain why it needs to be wiped with a alcohol wipe. These are pretty cheap. I get these from Costco, like a big pack for like $5. So get you some wipes. Now you want to make sure you're using a peptide calculator. Peptide calculator is not something you want to skip, okay? You can either Google one, you can use the app. There's a peptide calculator app. You can go to primepeptides.com and scroll all the way down and look for their free peptide calculator. There's another one. I'll put it on the screen because I can't think of the name right now. But
this starts sounding less like casual wellness influencing and more like crowdsourced medical procedure culture online. I'm actually kind of speechless, and I've already watched this. What's difficult about this conversation is that some of the advice being given here is technically safer than not doing those things, like the Sharps container. Yeah, it's a biohazard. It should be identified as a biohazard. If somebody is injecting substances, obviously sterile practices absolutely matter. But the bigger conversation is, why are random people on TikTok becoming the educators for this in the first place? That's the part that is so alarming to me in all of this. And when she starts talking about peptide calculators and dosing visuals and apps and guides, guys, that is not casual wellness content anymore. That is essentially crowdsourced medicine happening through social media algorithms. And I think society has normalized that way faster than we've processed the risk of it.
There's a guy named Jay. He made one.
A guy named Jay something. Yeah, because that sounds legit.
That's like super user friendly. It has pictures and everything. It literally shows you how to what your needle will look like when you have your dose. use a peptide calculator, please. Okay, so the next things that you need are optional, but I recommend them. Get you a notebook, okay, guys? Like, log your journey. These are all the peptides that I have researched with since last April or May when I started this journey. And for each one, I have the day that I started. Hold on, let me get to because this first part is literally like me just writing down what they are and what they do and how you're supposed to cycle them. But write down the day you started, how much, what did you feel, like what were your side effects, was it successful, how long did you take it for, like when did you start, when did you stop, how much did you weigh when you started, like anything you can think of.
I just would like to say this really quickly. When she says the peptides that you're researching, and she pulls out her 3-ring, or not 3-ring binder, her spiral notebook, she's essentially saying that you're researching, but it's you being the guinea pig, because we don't know what happens down the road with these. We don't know the impacts. We don't know what is going to grow or not grow, or we have no idea. People that are taking these, in my opinion, are the guinea pigs for what's going to happen 10, 15, 20 years down the road from the use of this social media craze with peptides. She's saying research, but what she's showing here is anecdotal evidence. Weight, how you're feeling, things of that nature. These are not clinical trials. This is anecdotal evidence of how she was feeling. Okay. You're right. Let's get back to it.
Write it down, because once you get so far in this rabbit hole, you are going to lose track. If you're just trying to do things by memory, I have to write stuff down. All right, so notebook, or you can use like your notes on your phone, anything that's going to help you keep track. You just want to stay organized, because there's a lot of different peptides, and once you learn about one, you're going to want to try the other one, and then you got to make sure that, can you even run those together? Are they going to be counterproductive? Can they be cycled together at the same time? Things like that. Okay, so another thing that you don't really need, but it's super cute and super convenient, some vial caps. So these go on top of your vial to protect it, to keep it from, you know, dirt getting in there. And also they're just cute, like they're aesthetically pleasing. I really like the ones from VialGuard, not a sponsored partnership, but because look, they're flexible. I've gotten other 3D caps from people who make them, no shade, but they've broken because they're not flexible. So the ones from VialGuard are flexible, and I just like them, and they're really cute, like neon colors. If you're into that thing, I am. All right, so next thing you want to do is get you a case. You want to get cases. You don't have to, but again, they're super cute. Some cases, vial caps. You want to keep your stuff away from light, because light degrades the quality of your peptides, and it just helps keep it have like a longer life, I guess. These are my amino blends. These are not peptides. These don't need to be refrigerated, and actually it's better if you don't refrigerate them because they can crystallize. But yeah, some cases. It doesn't have to be a 3D case. It can be, you know, like those zipper ones that, you know, people with diabetes use to keep their insulin in. You can get those on Amazon. Whatever you want to do, whatever's your vibe. I honestly...
Whatever is your vibe. Okay, this section in particular reminded me so much of what we see as far as behavioral patterns, if you will, when I cover multi-level marketing companies and what the reps say. I'm not saying that this is a multi-level marketing company. I don't think that it is. However, when you listen to the language and the structure, we have rabbit hole language, tracking protocols, stacking compounds, cycling products, supporting communities, which she's going to get to here shortly, identity around the lifestyle, and that kind of escalation pattern exists in a lot of online wellness spaces. And I think people need to understand how easy it is to slowly normalize increasingly risky behavior when everybody around you is treating it like it's the standard, if you will. It's also what we see, and I know this is not a multi-level marketing video, but it's also what we see in those companies where they will alienate people that don't believe the same things and only accept into their community people that have the same beliefs. So that part of it, this video in particular, was quite interesting to me. And also, can these compounds be cycled together? Guys, that is a massive thing to casually crowdsource online. I should have named this video like crowdsourcing peptides question mark, something like that. I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to her video.
Have too many cakes. Like I got crazy with it. I got like custom ones, different colors. I got ones with my name in them, like just doing the absolute most because I just fell so far down this rabbit hole. Brings me to my next point. You need bacteriostatic water. This is a mandatory step. You can't just not have bacteriostatic water. You need it to reconstitute. Now, if you want to use the one you get from your vendor, I trust this one because it's from Ion. Ion tests for, they test their bacteriostatic water. If you want to trust the one you get from your gray vendor, that's your prerogative. I'm not telling you not to or whatever. Personally, I use Hospira. Hospira is what they use in hospitals. I know it's not going to do me dirty. I know it's not going to come out and, you know, mess up my peptides. I just know it's quality I can count on. And make sure you don't get the fake one because there are people out here selling fake Hospira, guys. And the real one will have a label like this, like it's black and it has the date. Bacteriostatic water technically is good for 28 days after you open it. So make sure you write the date on it. However, there are people that use it longer, including me, and that's your discretion. But it's supposed to be like 28 days after you open it. And
I just know the nurses are going to riot in the comments of this one like they did in the last live stream I did.
You want to keep it in a cool, dark place, not somewhere where it's exposed to heat, not somewhere where it's exposed to light. And when your peptides are reconstituted, meaning they're already, you made them into a liquid because you mixed them already, they need to go in your fridge. So make sure if you have space in your fridge, preferably the back of your fridge, because if you keep it closer to the door, every time you open and close that door, like air also if you have kids, put it out of reach of them because they're going to see this stuff. They're going to be like, what's this? I personally don't have any kids in my home, but I do have like a whole separate mini fridge for my stash because that's how far in the hole I am. I have a whole mini fridge dedicated to my peptides. My freezer's full and I have my Hydro Peaks. So here's my Hydro Peak. I label it like what's in here. So because I have like 5 of these full. I know. Trust me, I know. They're labeled so that I don't have to be like opening every single one to find where the hell is the one I'm looking for. I just look at the top and I'm like, okay, so yeah, here's my one of my Hydro Peaks, and then I use these inserts that hold your peptides, and that's how it looks. The top layer, if you get the 32 ounce with the 3 inserts, the top layer is flat and the next layer is upright. And I use gel packs to absorb the moisture because you can get condensation and you just don't want that. One flew out in the process of me showing you. Let me go ahead and pop that back in there. These can be found at TJ Maxx. I forgot where else. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, like those kind of stores. They are kind of hard to find. I do go hunting for them every now and then, and I do free giveaways. They're not expensive. They're like 15 bucks. If you can find them on Amazon, grab them. But whatever, you don't have to do it this way. You can use the 3D cases, but I don't really like to use the 3D cases just because the hinges get rusty. I don't know if it's just mine. Maybe there's some out there that don't rust. Mine started to do that, so I switched to the Hydro Peak method for long-term storage. Let's see, I've kind of went over.
Okay, I'm sorry you guys, but I had to pause to get it together and just stare into the void for just a second, because we've officially crossed into TikTok peptide mini fridge culture, unfortunately. And I say that jokingly, but also not jokingly, because I think the aesthetics of this kind of content makes it feel way more normal and safe than people realize. The matching storage, the organization systems, the labels, the dedicated fridge, the accessory. It creates this illusion, in my opinion, that because something is organized and community supported, it must also be medically sound. And those are not the same thing. Also, I really need people to critically think about how fast social media can normalize things, unfortunately. Because 10 years ago, if somebody told me that influencers would be teaching audiences how to build peptide storage systems in their homes, injectable peptides, I might add, most people would have thought, I would have thought, that that sounded absolutely insane. And it almost feels like we have entered into some episode of the Twilight Zone on so many levels, not just this topic. And now it's algorithm-led content that should probably make us all pause a little bit.
Most of the base. Another thing you might want to consider doing, it would be in your best interest, is like maybe join a support group, like a Facebook, somebody's school community. I have a school community in my bio. Maybe a Telegram, whatever you want to do. Make friends with people, so you have somebody to talk to. You have somebody to give you an extra peace of mind. Obviously, yeah, we're not, medical professionals. We can't give each other advice, but we can kind of like share what's going on with our journeys and just have like that support. All right, I think
So we're 11 and some change into her video, and she's just now saying that she's not a medical professional. I mean, based on the language, this is no shade to her. Based on the language, I can tell that she's not a medical professional. And I think you guys probably can too. And again, I'm not trying to shade her. I'm just saying medical professionals don't speak that way. They don't talk about their peptide stash. You know what I'm saying? They don't talk about the things that she was talking about in that way. I hope that makes sense. Also, joining a Facebook community to get health advice on which peptides and people sharing their experiences. Okay. The community reinforcement structure here feels very similar to multi-level marketing companies. And that's why a lot of them will do things in Facebook groups. And also, I want to mention that the community poll, unfortunately, is going to put people in a vulnerable place where they're looking for other people that think the same way they do. And sometimes that's not always including critical thinking, in my opinion. And again, not trying to shade this creator by any means, but of course she has her own community where she's sharing this anecdotal evidence of her peptide usage. So now we have support groups, insider language, trusted sources, testimony culture, shared identity, and an encouragement to join communities and speaking in code to not get flagged by the platforms. Have you ever noticed how they talk about peptides online? They'll say peps, or they'll change a letter to a number so it doesn't get flagged by the social media app. Now think about that for a second. If it were such a legit thing, if it were totally safe, why would that be getting flagged? You guys get it. I know you get it, because this isn't the first time I've talked about something along these lines. They are speaking in code so that they don't get flagged. And those environments can make increasingly risky behavior feel completely normal over time, because everyone around you is validating it and validating your behavior and your decisions, and use this and not this and combine these. And it's a normal part of this type of culture within social media. And unfortunately, I think it's extremely dangerous. This is how normalization works psychologically, and it's definitely seen not just here, but also in multi-level marketing companies.
Covered everything. I'll just add like an extra little bonus round for you guys. There's also such a thing as intramuscular injections. That's a little more advanced because
nurses, medical professionals that give injections, y'all are gonna hate this part.
Normal injections, like for peptides, they're called subcutaneous, which means
subcutaneous. What did she say? What? How did she? I don't even know how she said. Okay, let me just stop.
They go in like the fatty area of your stomach, the top of your thigh, or the back of your arm. And those are the ones that you're going to use like these little boys for. But once you get, more into the rabbit hole, you will like maybe start doing intramuscular injections. That is going to be for like your amino blends. This is a 25 gauge. Remember that the higher the number, the smaller and thinner the needle is. The lower the number, the thicker the needle gauge is. Don't get anything too crazy, like 20, like 23. Don't be like me and make that. I got a 23 and I don't want to talk about it, but like 25 is all right for intramuscular. So like I'm saying, once you get further along your journey and you start learning about amino blends, you start learning about lipo-C, such and such, you're going to want to do intramuscular injections because that's how those need to be administered. So for example, this is a 31 gauge because look, it's like a baby needle head. And this one is a lot thicker. I mean, it's wrapped so you can't see it, and it's also longer. This is a 1 inch. So it's going further it's going to the muscle. Why do you need a thicker needle for intramuscular? Because amino blends are thick. This sucker is not going to want to draw up into here. You're going to be sitting there for like minutes trying to pull it in, and you're just going to be like, what the hell? And then when you inject it, it might cause what's called a welt, which is like a lump. Like the liquid is just going to sit at the surface of your skin. You don't want that because, first of all, it looks weird, it feels weird, and it's just nasty. So you want something that's going to go deeper in. I don't really like to give instructions on how to do intramuscular. Please look that up yourself. Check on YouTube, check on Google, because that is kind of like getting into the giving advice field, and I'm not qualified. So, okay. So
Who's going to tell her? This entire video that she did is one big contradiction. The repeated, I'm not qualified, this isn't medical advice, while simultaneously providing procedural guidance the entire time. Oh my God. I use disclaimers as well. These are my opinions. I get it. But disclaimers, especially when we're talking about this topic, do not magically erase influence, especially when you're sharing your peptide affiliate code in the video description and on your content. Also, let's not forget who is being targeted by these companies and these content creators. People that are vulnerable, people that are desperate, people that are emotionally invested in transformation stories. It's just like in MLMs when they say, well, I'm not giving medical advice, and then they go on to give medical advice. I can only imagine what medical professionals are going to be thinking when y'all see this video. Feel free to write it in the comments.
So I pretty much feel like I covered most of the basics. If you're a brand newbie, welcome, and hopefully you can figure this stuff out. You are gonna change your life with peptides, because if you're anything like me and you struggle to lose weight the natural way, it has been a game changer, and I am fully engulfed in this knee deep. You don't have to, but if you want to, if you're somebody like me that has OCD and you really want to stay organized and you want to label all your stuff, get you a printer, a label printer that is gonna have labels that are sized to go on your vials, so you can put the name. That's if you're ordering gray. If you want to put the name, the date, how many milligrams is it, and because gray vials don't come labeled, they come just like, you better know what you got, basically. Okay, let's talk about real quick, where should you get your peptides from? If you're brand new and you are like still getting your feet wet, please stick with a US supplier, please.
Okay, let me pause here for just a second, because I really do want to address this particular part with compassion, because I understand why statements like what she made about losing weight naturally, why that is being said. A lot of people are struggling with weight, with body image, with chronic fatigue, with inflammation, with feeling ignored medically. And when somebody says, this changed my life, unfortunately, it's giving people hope. And that hope, in my opinion, can be dangerous because, again, we don't know what this is going to do in the future. That's why I think creators in this space have a huge responsibility to communicate carefully and honestly about uncertainty, limitations, and risk, just like a medical professional would, but they're not a medical professional. They're just somebody selling peptides online. I digress.
I recommend Ion Peptide, Peptira.
Ion Peptide, wow, the company that you have an affiliate code with. I'm so shocked by that.
You guys can like look up whatever else you want to do. Make sure they have COAs. Make sure the COAs are current. If they test for endotoxins, that's a bonus. Make sure they have good customer service. Most of them ship really fast. The prices these days are getting more and more competitive. Try to look for the deals. My companies are in my link tree, and my name will get you a discount if you feel like you're ready to order over the pond, because yes, you heard it's cheaper, you can get more. Why would I pay this much for one when I can get this many for that much? I understand, but that stuff is not tested, and you are going to be paying with Bitcoin, crypto, bank transfer. It's getting harder to pay with things like as of late. If you're lucky, you'll find a vendor that does take PayPal or like Alibaba. Those are, a little bit easier to use because you can just put your credit card information. However, with the recent events, you can ask anybody in gray this. With the recent events, customs is starting to crack down. The big 3-letter agency is not trying to let us have our fun as much lately. So you're going to be finding vendors that are, more leaning towards the crypto side of things. So if you feel like you're ready to order over the pond, you're gonna have to be comfortable with talking to someone on an app through Discord, Telegram. You're not going to see their face. You're just going to hope and trust that they are saying what they are saying is true and real, and you're actually going to receive your stuff. It is going to take a while to get here. And when I say a while, I mean it could take 2 weeks, it could take a month, it could get seized at the border, it could take 2 months because they have to resend it to you. And then once you get it, it's not tested, so you have to test it, and testing is not cheap. Yes, you can send it to Fenric. Fenric is a testing place where they'll do it for free. I've done it, but they're only testing for purity. They're not testing for endotoxins, and you should be filtering your peptides if you're ordering gray and you are not testing for endotoxins. Yeah, bacteria is a thing. It's possible. So you should be filtering them. And then also a lot of people use Janoschik because Janoschik is like the industry standard for testing. They're kind of like who everybody looks up to. But like I said, it is not cheap. And that's why people get into groups and they do group buys. So they can split the cost for the testing. They can buy everything together. They can split kits and they can like distribute. So do whatever you feel comfortable with. Personally, I don't have that much patience. I have participated in a group buy one time, and bro, it took me so long to get my stuff that I kind of was like, I never want to do this again. So then the second time I ordered over the pond, I did it just me, like through the vendor, just me. And I was like, okay, cool. I like this a little bit better. But like I said, you still have to send it off to test. So if you are running out of something and you need it, like I need to take my shot already, order it from a US supplier because it's going to come quick. It's already tested. You know exactly what you're getting. You know exactly how much is in there, and there's peace of mind. So,
oh, are y'all as shocked as I am? I was concerned before, but when I saw this part, this section of her video, I went from concerned to, this is a military term, alarm red. Alarm red. For sure. Because listen to what we're discussing now. Overseas suppliers, custom seizures, crypto payments, anonymous messaging apps, testing compounds yourself, endotoxins, filtering injectables at home. What? And somehow this is all being discussed in the exact same tone as somebody recommending skincare products on TikTok. That disconnect to me is honestly so wild and scary. This is where I really need people to separate FDA approved peptide medications from gray market online peptide culture that we're seeing in this video. Those are not the same things. Research chemical suppliers are not pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities. The standards are not the same. The oversight is not the same. The testing is not the same. And the accountability is not the same. And I think social media has definitely blurred those distinctions in a really dangerous way. Oh my God. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell anybody what they should or should not do with their bodies. Please talk to your medical professional. What I am saying is that social media algorithms are increasingly normalizing underground self-experimentation, like what we're seeing here, in ways that, in my opinion, I genuinely do not think we are taking seriously enough. And I think vulnerable people deserve evidence-based care, informed consent, transparency about potential risk factors or risk of taking said compounds, and qualified medical guidance, not TikTok chemistry class disguised as wellness content with a linked affiliate code. And again, this is not about attacking this creator. I think this is a much bigger conversation about where online wellness culture is heading and how quickly risky behavior can start feeling normal when it's wrapped in pretty aesthetics, confidence, and community reinforcement. Oh my God. You guys, please protect yourselves online. Not everybody speaking confidently is qualified. Not every transformation story tells the full story, and not every wellness trend is harmless just because it's trending. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. If you have not already liked and subscribed and turned the bell notification on to get notified when I upload anything, please do so. It helps me, it supports me, and it helps get the word out about things like this. So thank you for being here. I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.